Productivity has become a skill, a sport, but the focus on delivering it and on developing it lies directly with the individual. And that has made some big differences. Now, creativity, on the other hand, was something that started in the opposite direction. Creativity at its core, all the way back to the Greek and Roman times, was something that was always focused on the individual. The Greeks and Romans believed that creativity wasn't something that any human could possess. That in actuality, it was a gift. It was something that was given from the gods. It was a higher power that was working through you. And that view really persisted for a very long time, up until around the era of the Enlightenment during the 17th and 18th century, where the Romantics, as a stance against capitalism, decided to define creativity as a state of being. It was something that was completely separate from producing. You didn't have to produce anything to be creative, you just were creative. And that view persisted for a while until the 1950s. And in the 1950s, we saw the introduction of social psychology, where scientists wanted to try to figure out what it meant to actually be creative. And for them, they focused on the skill sets that you needed in order to be creative. In this case, one of the first studies was about idea generation. Scientists started trying to measure how many ideas could you come up with, and that became a metric of how creative you were. And today, creativity has become an economic model. It has become something that many organizations are focused on as they try to figure out how to manage large groups of people that are doing highly non-standardized tasks, large groups of people that are doing tasks that are actually quite hard to measure. So if you think about the evolution of creative purpose, creativity started out as something that you are given as a gift. Then it was something that you are. Then it became a skill that you have, and now, from an economic perspective, it has become something that you do. This explains why creativity has actually become such an important part of our culture. In 2014, creativity was declared as one of the most valuable traits in America. 81% of employees said that creativity was important at work. 70% said that creativity was incredibly important in this economic climate. And I want to focus your attention on this crazy statistic, which was 94% of people valued creativity over intelligence, compassion, humor, and beauty. And I want us to just think about this for a second. More than intelligence, more than compassion, more than humor, and more than beauty. Creativity, even though our definition of the way that we talk about creativity and being a creative individual is quite new, has quickly become one of the defining strengths and skill sets to have in today's economy. Now, one of the reasons why creativity has become so important is that work itself, the work that we're actually doing, has changed. Not only are we working all the time thanks to technology, the lines between being online and offline are quite blurred, but also we now live in an age where creativity has become a value trait. And this is important because traditionally, a lot of what we know about management was developed at a time when creativity wasn't a skill that employers cared about. So they didn't bother to measure it because they didn't have to. You didn't have to be creative when you were working on the factory line. And now that the type of work that we're doing has shifted, it is creating a lot of challenges because we actually don't know how to measure creativity very well within an organizational context.